In this tutorial, I'll show you how we can create this stunning contact page for your Elementor Pro website. So here you can see this beautiful contact page with this headline, these buttons for your email address, phone number, and all the social links. And on the right side, you can also see this animating text circle. So when you click on this, it will scroll down to that contact form section, and this contact form looks much better than a traditional boring form. So here when you try to submit this form, it will show you these customized error messages. So if anything goes wrong, like you don't fill the required field, or if you give a wrong email pattern, it will show you this kind of errors. And after a successful submission, you can also see this kind of confirmation message, as well as you will also receive an email with all the details from that form. Cool, right? So without any further ado, let's see how we can make all of these things. Okay, so here in this blank page, we will start everything from scratch. But if you also don't want to watch this whole tutorial and only want to get this whole page as a ready-made template, you can also get this from my template shop. And here as a bonus, you will also get both the container and the non-container version. So if you are using the old section column layout, you can also use that template. So here after downloading this, you will also need to unzip this file, and inside that you can choose from any of them. As I'm using container, so let's go inside the container folder and let's drag this JSON file to here. And insert this one. And if we see it from our preview, here you can see everything works really perfect. And it's also fully responsive from the tablet or the mobile devices. Okay, but if you don't want to get this ready-made template, you can also start everything from scratch. So I want to delete all of this content and let's start it from scratch. So as I'm using the new Flexbox container, so first of all, let's drag a container inside here. And inside that, first of all, we need to create this first section. So for that, here I want to take another new container. So first of all, here I want to add a heading widget inside that. And let's change this text. So basically I want to make it a subheading. So from the typography, I want to reduce its font size and also want to change its color to this yellow color. And here you can see on this page, I have used this color for all over this page. So for this, here I want to save this color for the later use. I want to give its name yellow. I know it's not perfectly yellow, but I want to keep the name too simple. Let's click on create. Okay, and here I also want to make it a little bit lighter, 500 font weight. So after that, here I also want to make another big heading. So just duplicate this and change this text. But for this one, I want to increase the font size and also fix the line height. Let's give it a width. So go to the advanced and make the width to the custom and give it to 1000 pixel. And here I want to put this contact as text on a separate line. So on this text here, let's put a line break tag. Perfect. Now before doing anything, first of all, I want to give a background color for this section. So go to the top container settings, and here from the background option, I want to give its color to the dark color, and also give the background color for this inner container. So go to this background again, and I want to give it to the same dark color, but a little bit brighter than that. I also want to save that color, so click on plus icon and name this to brown. Okay, but here I want to make this to full width. So first of all, go to these container settings and make its width to the full width, and also do the same for this inner container, full width. Also here we need some padding, so I want to give it to 80 pixel. And lastly, make some border radius. So after that, here I want to put these buttons. So basically for this section, here I want to take two containers, one for the left and one for the right side. And inside this left container, we also need to make two different containers for this first row and for the second row. So let's do it quickly. From here, let's drag a container under here, and I want to make it to the full width. And inside that, for the left container, I just want to copy this and paste it inside that. So for this one, I want to give its width to 540 pixel. Inside that, let's create our first container for the buttons, and let's drag this button inside that. So I want to give here my email address, and also for this link I want to put the same email address, but before that here I want to write down mail to and colon. So for mobile, when anyone click on this button, it will auto opens up your email app and ready to write an email. So here from the alignment, I want to make it to justify and make its width to the 50%. From the advanced, we will set its width to the custom and to 50%. From the style, we also need to change this background color. So I want to make it to fully transparent. And for the text color, we will use the previous yellow color. So let's add this and make some border, make it to solid, to pixel, and give the same yellow color. Make the fully rounded corner and also give some padding to make it look bigger. We also need to adjust the font size. After that, with the same design, I want to add another button. So just duplicate this, and for this one I want to put here a phone number and also put it to here. And in case of mobile number, here before that we need to put tail colon and also remove the spaces between these numbers. Okay, so this will also opens up your phone number with your phone app. Now here for this button, I want to move it to here. For this, go to this parent container and make its direction to the row. Also reduce the spaces between them, make it to 10 pixel. Now that looks perfect. But here we can see as we are creating so many nested containers, so it will also take so much space for these paddings. So we also need to remove that. First of all, for our this container, go to this padding option, make it to 0. Also for this second nested container, make it to 0. And for the last one, we will also make it to 0. But now here you can see it's really hard to grab this containers option. So for this, we will open the navigator view. And from here, we can see all the hierarchical view of these containers. So from here, I just want to duplicate this one. You can see it on here. And here instead of this, I want to make it a social buttons. And for now, just keep it to hash. You can change it on later. For this one, I want to make it to LinkedIn and create another one. So just duplicate that and I want to make it to GitHub. We also need to reduce the spaces on here. So let's go to this container and make the space 10 pixel. Also adjust the space from this heading, so make it to also 100. Okay, now here on the right side we will place our that text circle. So I want to take another container inside this container here. Okay, we have placed it on the wrong place, so I just want to place this inside this container. So drag this to here and swipe this place. Okay, now inside this one we will place our that circle. So we need to take an text path widget. Let's drag it to here and we need to change this text. But instead of wave, we need to make it to a circle. So as you can see, it's now still a curve. We need to make it a full circle. So we will do that, but before that, here we will place that on the right side. So for this container here, first of all, we need to make it to full width, make it 150 pixel. And then for our this container, we need to make its direction to the row and also make the justify content to space between. And also to place it from the bottom, we also need to make the align items to the end. Okay. Now go back to this text path widget, and here first of all we need to change its color. So from the style we will make to that yellow color. From the typography we will also change this font size, font weight, and here you can already notice we have used our Poppins font as a global font. So that's why it's auto applied for all of our this content. Okay, now here I also want to play around with this letter spacing and the word spacing to make it a perfect circle. Make the word spacing to 3. That looks perfect. So I only need to reduce the size 110 pixel. But here you can also notice it's on the left side for this container. So to make it on the right side, go to this container settings and make this alignment to the end. Then at the middle of the circle, we will also place an icon. this one. So for that, here let's drag this icon widget, and I don't want to use any of this default icon. Instead, I will use a custom SVG for this one. And don't worry, I will also provide this SVG to my website and also give that link to my description. From the style, here let's change its color to that yellow color and also reduce its size. Lastly, to place it on here, let's go to the positioning, make it to absolute. From the right side, I want to make it to 50 pixel, and from the top, make it to 50 or 52 pixel. Perfect. So here I will also make the circle to an animating text. We will do that in a moment. But before that, here at the bottom, I also want to place our contact form. So search for the form widget and drag this under here. Okay, we have placed it at the wrong place. We just need to place it inside this main container. So let's drag it under here and let's delete this additional container. For this form, here you can see 3 default fields: name, email, and message. So if you need an additional field, you can also add that from these options. So here I want to make a new one and give its label and the placeholder. Also, if you want, you can reorder them by dragging it up and down. So inside each of this field, you can also see some options. So if you want to make them required, you can also check this. Here is also the column width option. So if I make it to 33%, which makes it 1/3 of this whole form. So I also want to make it 1/3 for this email and this subject field and keep it as default. Then here is the label option. So if you don't want these labels, you can also disable this from here. From this buttons option, you can also customize these buttons. So instead of send, I want to make it to submit, and let's add an icon with that. For this action after submit, here it's set to collect submission and email. So when you submit this form, it will collect that form data inside the WordPress dashboard and also send an email to your email address. So if you go to email, here we can see the settings of this email. So I will receive an email to this email address, and in your case, you need to change this with your own email address. Here is the subject for this email. I want to keep it too simple with just my name. Then here is the from email option. So for this option, you always need to include an email address, which includes the domain name of your website. So here my website is jituryan.com. So that's why it's also included that same domain name with this email. So you can easily create this kind of business email from your hosting dashboard settings. Okay. So after setting all of this, when a user fill up this form, you will receive an email with all the information from this form. And under that, here you will also see an reply button. So by clicking on this, you can easily reply to your client or customers. So to make that reply button perfectly working, you also need to make that reply to option to that email field of that user. So after that, here I want to go to this style option. And first of all, I want to change the background color for these fields. So from the field option, I want to make this background color to that brown color and also make this text color to that yellow color. We also don't need any border, so make it to 0 and make the border radius to 50 pixel. From this typography, let's also change this font 14 pixel. So now I also want to increase the padding, but here you can see there is no padding option. So we will do that by using some custom CSS code. So let's go to here and you can see that custom code option. And if you don't know, this custom CSS option is only available in Elementor Pro. So if you don't have Elementor Pro, you can quickly get this from my link on the description. Let's paste this code and you can see this padding is working perfectly. And here you also don't need to worry about this code snippet. I will give all the code snippet to my website and also give that website link to my description. So from here you just need to copy and paste that code. Right now, here I also want to place this button on the right side. But with Elementor, this default option, it's not possible to do that. So we need to do it with the help of JavaScript code. So first, here with this form, we need to add a class mdw modern form. Then let's search for an HTML widget, drag this right under this form and paste this code snippet. And now here we cannot see any changes, but if we see it from our preview, we can see it's on the right side. Now we need to design this button. So here from this button's option, first of all we need to set its background color to this yellow and also set text color to this brown color. And we can see on hover it's white, so let's also fix it, make it brown. Then go to the typography. I want to make it a bigger font size, make it to bold. Also we need some border radius, make it 50, make some padding. Then here we also need to reduce the gap between these columns. So from this column option, make it to 7 pixel. And at the top here we can see some more space. We also need to reduce that. So basically this space comes from these container settings. We need to reduce the gap to 10 pixel. So now let's save this. From the preview, now we can see everything looks perfect. So now when I click on this, we can also see these error messages. But here I also want to edit this typography. So let's go to this form settings again. Inside messages, here we need to make all of this color for the success message or the error message, all of this to brown. Let's also reduce the font size to 14 pixel. Also change the weight. Okay, now we can see it perfectly. So let's go back again to the custom CSS for this form. Here you can see I have also give you some options like the width for this submit button, the height for this message field, also this primary and this secondary color, which we have also used in some parts of this form. So here I make the primary color to that yellow color and make the secondary color to that brown color. Then here, even if you also want to change the error messages or the email validation message, you can also change it from here. Okay, now here everything looks perfect for our desktop. Let's go to the tablet device. And here, first of all, we need to reduce the big heading size. Let's go to the typography and I want to reduce it to 50. Also reduce the gap here and the gap around. So for this container here, I also want to reduce its padding and everything is perfect. But here if you want, you can also additionally make some changes with this button. So for this one, I want to here make it to 55%. Okay, looks great. And for this text path widget, here it again looks big. So reduce the size to 110 pixel. For this form, everything looks great. I just want to reduce the font size for this button, so make it 16. Okay, then lastly check it for the mobile device. So here everything looks messed up. First of all, let's adjust this heading. Also reduce the padding for this container. And here for all of these buttons, I want to make them 100%. So from here make it to 100. Also for this one, 100, and do the same for the other buttons. Then here we can see again this big text, so let's make again to 110 pixel. And here we also need to place it on the center. So from this container settings, make its position to the center. We also need some gap at the top and bottom, so adjust its margin. Like the circle, we also place this button on the center. So here on these position settings from the right side, make it to 50%. Okay, but you can see we need to move it a little bit right. So from the transform option, make some offset. Looks perfect. So here I also forget to make this an animating text. So for this, here let's go to this text path widget settings and we need to write down some custom CSS. So let's paste this and we can see this beautiful animation. So here you can also find some interesting option. So instead of right, if we make the direction to the left, we can see this animation on this left side. Okay, and also from here you can change the speed of this animation. Okay, I want to keep it to the default. And lastly, when you click on this, I want to scroll down to that contact form section. So for that, here first of all with our this form, I want to put a ID, contact. You can put any ID as you want. And then I want to just copy that ID from here and go to this text path widget. Here on this link section, we need to paste that exact same ID. But before that, here we need to put an hash. Okay. And lastly, to make it work perfectly, we also need to make its z-index too. So now from the preview, when you click on this, we can see it's perfectly working. So that's all for today. If you enjoyed this tutorial, then don't forget to like and subscribe to this channel. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you on my next video.